Okay, so I want to talk to you today about Werner von Braun. He's a former Nazi, turned into a major scientist here in the United States. Yes, he did become a U.S. citizen, and he's a major player in NASA. I think Apollo 11. He created the jet systems to propel it. He wrote a fiction book on going to Mars, and I'm going to reveal some of the stuff that he said about that is pretty shocking. And this all came from, thank you, from a subscriber who told me to go check out his deathbed, not confession, but something that he shared. Well, it actually wasn't his deathbed, and I want to tell you that he did share some information that is pretty shocking, that's coming out more and more now about what is happening out there in space, especially here in the United States, what we're doing and what is supposedly going to happen. This isn't conspiracy. I'm going to use the facts that I uncovered by doing some research. And my friend who told me about this, for some reason the comment was deleted, okay? So I was wondering, why would that be removed? So let's see if this video makes it. Nothing controversial here, just some facts, some things for you to think about. This is going to be real interesting because these are the insiders that before they die, he died at 65, he had nothing to lose, and shared some big warning signs about what is to come and what has happened when he worked in that position at NASA. This is fun stuff. Let's explore it. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through the fears and live an amazing life. You might want to go over to my other channel, and that is another Landria, Onkka, Tools to Manifest Anything. I'm actually changing the platform over there. We're going to work more on self-development and really breaking through fear. We're going to do that over there too. We've gone off track a little bit here because we're exploring so many subjects. And I want to give you what you're interested in. And I'm seeing that you're interested in really transforming yourselves into that new world. How do I go into that space and move past all this negativity? Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. It has everything to do with just dealing with the things that come to us in this illusion. It is an illusion. We're going to talk more about that. But it is all manipulated by our own individual realities. In other words, we're creating all of this. Nobody does it to us, but we take it so seriously. So the things I'm going to tell you today, I don't want them to take you into a space of fear. In fact, I hope that it will take you in the opposite direction, where you realize that nothing has control over you. All right? Nothing has control over you. There's nothing really to fear. And some things that we are afraid of, anything we're afraid of, is programming. It has to be, because there's nothing truly negative. Everything's just an experience, neither good nor bad. You might say, oh, that's so wrong. Delete Landria. Okay. Well, there really isn't, because if Source does and makes everything and is everything, how can it be bad? It's just an exploration of every facet of itself. So when we talk about space programs, we're like this little dot in this massive universe. And so we talk about extraterrestrials, and the joke is, we're ETs. You know, there might be places, planets, beings out there that see us floating around doing some cray-cray stuff and going, what is that? Oh my gosh, they're evil. Did you see what they're doing? And it's just us exploring. Yeah. So we're ETs too. So why would it be so bizarre to think that they're checking us out? They're more advanced. We know that we are Neanderthals compared to the rest of the universe, right? We're on the outskirts of it, thank goodness. So the stories I tell you today, really, Werner von Braun was giving us warnings. So I'm going to switch over and actually read some of this straight off and give you resources. Some things I'm not actually going to show because I know that I will be blocked from it because I don't want to use somebody else's original stuff. So let's switch over right now. So I looked up some of these things, and I came up with
for you a little bit of information. One was about a person that Wernher von Braun shared information with. In fact, he really pushed this with a woman named Carol Rosin. Now, she was an aerospace executive, one of the very few. She worked at Fairchild Industries, and she worked directly with him. Now, this is from Quora, and you can look this up. Did Wernher von Braun really say that an alien false flag operation may take place in the future? He actually talked about various things, including some, various attacks that might be coming, but basically how things are going to be skewed to look like we're protecting ourselves from obviously things that could have taken us out ages ago. And obviously, extraterrestrials who are shutting down, some of these installations and showing their power that they're not going to allow us to destroy ourselves yet. We're supposed to be creating these outer space weapons to protect ourselves, and that to me is insane, because anybody who can get here and do what any visitor has been doing far surpasses the technology we're going to come up with. But you might want to look her up. This is a very interesting article. Dr. Carol Rosin of Fairchild Industries, she's actually 79 now. She's one of the few who came forward with von Braun's information. This is a very interesting video. Now, I can't play it because I will get blocked. All right, but here's what I wanted. I looked her up, and there's really not much of her on here. A 3-minute video and one that's just like a minute or so. So I looked this up, and I found out this is on worldservice.org. And she has a whole article on this. It's actually her being interviewed. And what she created the Institute for Security and Cooperation Outer Space, because Wernher von Braun, he really emphasized that there's going to be some stories made up that just aren't true as excuses, and all this information. And I think that what we're seeing right now, okay, this should not go into fear, because here's the emphasis I want to place on this. We're being shown that there are aliens. Why? Why all of a sudden are we being shown these, this tape has suddenly been released or it accidentally got out? Baloney. Our government isn't that stupid. Well, that's debatable, right? But what I want to share with you is why all of a sudden are we being shown that they really are out there, and now we have all of these conferences and things. Now it's going to take a different twist, and I do believe this. I believe that there is a faction of people that are always going to go to the lower frequencies and try to create something fearful and negative about this. So now they're going to say, see, we really do have them. They are really out there. Okay, wow, oops. And then now what are we going to do? Oh, we should be in fear. I want you to know something right now. You should never go into fear. If it's fear-based, then it is absolutely let's just put it this way. It's being planted for a reason to keep the public in a state of weakness. In other words, we're going to continue to rely on those in power, in our institutions, our governments, for answers. All right. So if I'm fearful, I'm going to rely on them to protect us. Yeah, like that's going to happen. So I want you just to know this, that this is not something to fear, because if anything, that is going to be a major breakthrough to be a part of our celestial world's neighbors out there.
So I've been saying this for quite some time. Why all of a sudden is, disclosure of what? I mean, hello, we've known this for centuries. They're in paintings, they're on, ancient walls. And now all of a sudden, now it's real, and now we're going to have discussions about it. Why? There's always an agenda for those who are going to turn this into something that keeps them in control. Because if we have free energy and all the other things that are going to clean up our place, then our planet and ourselves, what's left? Well, where does all that money go that we're spending on for things that are trillions of dollars to protect us from what? I want you to understand this whole channel and everything I teach is break through fear to go into an unlimited space of existence. When I say space, I mean there is nothing you don't have access to. We do go through trials and tribulations here. We do struggle with certain things. It's not always easy. But I want you to understand that you have the power to change this planet. And if you keep looking to other people and all of these conspiracies and this crazy stuff, that most of it is completely made up. And that those who have really sound pretty legitimate, and I talked to you before about Chris Bledsoe, I truly believe the guy. He has no motive. I mean, he's not making any money. He's not actually in great health, but he's had experiences that he's shared that have ruined his life. He has no motivation whatsoever to share that story, and he's not insane because other people have witnessed and experienced this stuff up until very recently here in Florida. He's been able to prove that he has a connection to these other beings, and he's telling us right now it's not a negative thing. All right? So I want you to understand that there's always going to be a range of frequencies and choices out there, but right now we're the ones we need to be most concerned about. If you use your own power, you can create a completely different life for yourself and on the planet. The more we focus and believe in this stuff, and I know it's fascinating. I know some of you want to believe all of it. There are people still think the planet is flat. I mean, come on. I mean, oh yeah, NASA's lying. I mean, it just goes on and on. What are you using your brain power for? What are you consuming your time with? So Wernher von Braun wrote a book about Mars. In fact, he wrote about a whole team of people going to Mars, humans, and that they were very humanoid and that they lived underground. Now, the leader of all this was, ironically, before Elon Musk even appeared on the radar, the leader was Elon, E-L-O-N. I know. What's up with that? There are so many connections that people pick up. There's this information out there that people pick up on. When you're a writer and you get these ideas, you're picking up on existing ideas, events, probabilities, all at one time. So I'm not shocked that he came up with this. Now, here's what they were. They're very responsible. They look like humans, but they were extremely responsible with technology. In fact, they would not use it in any negative way, which is the total opposite of what we do. All right? So this team of people that go to planet Mars, very interesting book that I think we should all probably read because he had some insights. And of course, working at NASA, obviously gave him some real insights into what's going on. I want you to understand that the institutions that are not doing what is best and greatest for our planet and people, we can't put our trust into them or our faith. Any faith that you put forth, it has to be on that high frequency. And what does that mean? We have to have compassion, a community, a giving. We have to think about others equally as ourselves, because you have to take care of yourself too. You guys have seen I've created a new way of doing business. It has nothing to do with teaching technology. It has to do with doing things we love that are beneficial to the planet and others, creating multiple income streams that gives us power, our own power financially, but doing things on a high frequency, doing things that help people. And if you focus on those things first, you'll be so happy. You're going to find purpose and passion. You're going to make a positive impact, and then you can make profits doing that. But what you do with those profits is going to turn money into something very positive that should be shared and expansive on the planet. So all these things that you hear, I want you to understand, is all controlled to keep us in fear. And that was a warning from him that this is going to be used in a way that is going to make us coil back, because we're getting very expansive right now. We're going into consciousness in an unbelievable way. That frequency of the planet is changing. So we see, solar flares. There are going to be people out there to tell you to be afraid of that. It already happened, my friends. We had an X5. That's the biggest solar flare possible. Didn't do a damn thing. I think it took out some short wave radios, maybe, played havoc with a few things. So we get these things out there that are sensationalized because they're exciting and they get eyeballs on certain YouTube channels and they help control people. The more we stay in fear, by the way, I want you to think big. The more we stay in fear, the more the collective gets taken down into a lower frequency and controlled. It's a much bigger thing than just this subject and this subject. It's a fear-based consciousness that's being placed out there to keep people in the lower frequencies. We are disempowered when we're in fear. You are eternal. Nothing can harm you. Yeah, physically stuff can happen. It's so temporary because nothing can be harmed because everything is energy that's always existed, always will. Everything's happening all at one time that ever has, ever will. You have access to it. It's all happening right now, not simultaneously, but as one organized energy field that's experiencing individual experiences, adventures. And this is one of them. And we can take it wherever we want. So those of you who think that there's a future in stone, you don't understand your power. You can create it and we can change it right now. And that's why so many predictions haven't come true. Right? We changed things. So do not go into fear. And that warning was, you are being told to go into fear. Don't do it. Don't believe it. Anything that has to do with separation and conflict is not true. It's not true. It's a created illusion. It's a created illusion, and it's a different experience. It's real in our experience here on Earth, our illusion, but you don't have to go into it. It is created for some other intention. Anything that says we have to protect ourselves is absolutely going in conflict and the opposite, into separation, the opposite of the oneness, the highest community-based, loving, giving, unconditional love that would never do that. And that's why our little facilities have been shut down once in a while. It's saying we're not going to allow this. There are rules. And Mars, underground, maybe that's going on now. Who knows? Maybe it used to go on. Who knows? However, the message was that they never used technology for anything negative. So this is something for you to explore. I'm not going to go too in depth because I want you to just go ahead and make up your own mind. But what's the bottom line? What's this all mean? It was a warning. It was a warning that we have to stop believing all this stuff that creates fear. We're going to break through fear. You saw my book. I hope you'll go get the book and read it because it absolutely will take you to a space where you realize there's nothing to ever fear. And we have gone into a tipping point of some fabulous, amazing things happening right now. But you have to take the action now. It's time to take action. So I hope you'll subscribe and share these. Tell people, because the more we get people to break through all of this crazy stuff that they go into fear, it's like it has to stop. It just has to stop. And so you focus on that which is amazing and you will experience that reality. All right? This is my digitalexplorers.net program is launched. And I teach you how to create online businesses in anything. If you know absolutely nothing, I don't teach technology. I don't teach all this, crazy stuff, setting up that drives people nuts. We skip all of it. Yeah. And we focus on what? We find your passion, or if you have an existing business, we find the multiple income streams. We build multiple income streams around what you love. We have you have a structure, something that you're going to grow and share with the world. It's going to help you get to a place where possibly you can step away from something you hate, because we shouldn't live in fear or anxiousness or unhappiness. It just doesn't have to be that way. All right? You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you. And by the way, I'm doing private coaching too. In addition to that course, if you're not ready for the course, you can come to me. If you have a business, let's talk about changing it, because I'm using all my resources to help you to get the word out there about what you're offering the world, but you have to do it in a way that makes sense, all right? Everything's one thing. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you. Namaste.